Hey everybody, it is me, Shockroller, and today I am here with a very special guest. In fact, the first of many guests here in Shock's Arcade Lounge. Allow me to introduce to you StarblossomJ. And of course, it's a pleasure having you here today. How are you today?
Good, and I immediately start laughing, but I'm doing great. It's nice to be here.
Yeah. So, for those of you who are going to start noticing future episodes, basically what we'll do is this. So, I'm going to be asking a lot of content creators, also artists, and those that I like to consider them as positive influencers, basically share and break down what they basically would give their insights to those who are interested into getting to know them more. Furthermore, every episode that I have so far are people mostly that I know close or at least have a great amount of mutual respect towards, if not a great amount of respect to it. So, with Star Blossom being our very first guest today, how do you feel about being in today's, well, first podcast episode collab? Actually, podcast collaboration episode, actually.
I'm very excited and happy. We haven't had a collaboration in a very long time. So, I'm psyched to be back. I'm psyched to be back.
I'm glad to hear that. So, what I'm gonna do, Star, is that I'm gonna basically ask you a couple of questions, and you can let me know when. Here's how this goes. So I'll ask you a question, and then basically you'll give me the answer you want to respond with, and then when you feel like you've done answering that question, you can ask me the next one, and until like we reach to the end of it, we could even basically keep going and going, or we could even discuss with some of those, like have a discussion before we even get to the next question. So it'll be more like basically when the question is over and the conversation is like we can move forward to another one. You just gotta let me know.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Awesome. And okay, let's start with the very first icebreaker. Where did the name Star Blossom J came from?
So, StarblossomJ originated from the fact that I love Cardcaptor Sakura. That was my biggest influence because in Cardcaptor Sakura, Sakura Kinomoto, wow, Sakura Kinomoto, she has a star wand. The later half of the series, that's her wand, and I resonate with that character. And Blossom is a big, well, not, but flowers is a big theme in that show. And Sakura means cherry blossom, so Star Blossom. And then J, my name, Jordana. So that's like the story behind that.
Ooh, that's very interesting, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it this actually very much pertains to the next question, but before I get to it, I gotta say there's a lot of anime influences that I get from, I mean, knowing you from history, pretty much the your art and everything, and of course, it lets me know of like, and it gives me an idea of like, wow, like you really have a big amount of influences from anime,
Yes.
which actually goes to the next question. What works inspire you when you create your art? For example, like I mentioned, anime, movies, video games. You mentioned card captors. Besides that one, is there any more you would like to include in that?
Well, when it comes to my persona design, I have a big influence. I'm inspired by Kiki's delivery service. So, hence the big bow. And then,
Oh,
mhm. And then when it comes to my outfit, my fashion is very mixed up with vintage polka dots, 50s, whatever era, back in the day.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So it's like I just pulled from. I mean, how am I trying to say this? I just um so my inspirations are quite they're, I don't have a big list of inspirations. It's like, oh, okay, I like vintage fashion. I love cute stuff. And my favorite Ghibli movie is Kiki, Delivery Service. So yep, that's about it. My brain's like jumbly. I don't.
It's perfectly fine. Yeah, that's like I mean, given with any question, like if someone asks you, "Oh, what's like your favorite movies, video games, or even your favorite foods?" I would think of, well, I would say I like hamburgers, cheeseburgers, pizza, French fries, Pepsi, Coke, Sprite. So and then I go, okay. And then there'll be sometimes I'm like, oh wait, I know there was more. And then someone would tell me, sir, you just listed 50 things already. I don't think you need to explain further. No, 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 hang on. I got like much more. But I understand, where that does come from. So
Yeah.
that's good to know. But at least like there's like there's like a what I like to call a lottery, well, like a lottery ball machine, kind of like organizing ideas going around. But at least like it's energetic, so that's very good to hear.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
okay. So the next question that I wanted to ask: when did you start first making art? Well, particularly in what you do, actually.
Hmm. So this might sound cliche at first, but I started drawing young, but a little later than my sister. So for example, my sister is also an artist. We're twins. And she started drawing around 4. I didn't start drawing around until I was 6 years old. But then my passion for it died down. I have it's a funny story now, but my sister's like, listen, you're not very good at drawing, so how about she loves me, don't worry guys. But she's like, you're not very good at drawing, so how about you become a chef or something? And I'm like, are you serious? So in middle school, up into high school, I didn't draw for a while. If you hear any noise, that's my sister walking by. But then I graduated high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't ready for college and I took a year break. So, oh, and a flood had happened. So while my sister had to take her senior year of school, I was home a lot of the days. Like, I should do something, so I picked up drawing again. So from 2011 to present, that's been my whole drawing journey. So it really didn't start for me, honestly, until 2011.
Okay, that's pretty good actually. And so you started around 2011, correct?
Yeah, like that's where I feel I took it serious to improve my skills and actually want to do something with it. So I would say that's the
That's
year.
not,
Yeah, because
that's not bad actually.
I had that in between where I wasn't doing much of nothing, so of anything. So
Understandable, yeah, because for me, like, I can relate with that in a level because I actually started doing YouTube around 2012, which is like a year after since you got started into it, and
wow.
ideally was that I had a very long time of trying to basically be an actor during high school, and I really thought, like, in all honesty, there were 3 reasons why I wanted to be an actor. Was because I wanted to basically move out of my home, because I wanted to basically travel. I wanted to travel, and at the same time, I thought it was a lot more easier to be expressive, and given that acting is a form of art, I had a very much a good amount of imagination. But unfortunately, theater high school is all about living with the drama and then working with the drama. That honestly,
Yeah.
it's not even in the set. It's more like you gotta deal with classmates that either want to bring trouble or they want to hear the trouble. So like, they live through the gossip, or I mean, given the fact that some of the what I like to call the cast and the crew during the 4 years of high school were problematic. It's like living in a sitcom, except no one's laughing with you. They're either laughing at you or somebody else. It's incredibly painful. But
Wow.
I,
Ugh.
I had a long history of trying to really, build something new. And then when I discovered YouTube, that's when I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go pick up into this, so I can relate on the fact that when people say you weren't good enough or you had to try something else, I did. I picked up something else that I did, but except I didn't let me go bring me that down. I just said, you know what? I had a good experience, so no, I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah. It's so interesting how things kind of change your perspective like that.
It really does. It really does. Okay, so my next question to you is that as an artist yourself, what is your greatest strengths and your greatest weaknesses? Like, if you had to choose which was your greatest and your weakest, what would be one of each would be?
That's a really tough question. I, the reason why it's tough because I can think of a couple things, but my biggest strength with art, like if I'm talking about within my journey, is perseverance. Perseverance? Am I saying the word right?
Yeah, you're good. It's
Okay.
perseverance, right?
Yeah, because there's multiple
Yeah,
times.
you
Okay. There's multiple times
no
where.
worries. You're fine.
Okay. So, anyways, there's multiple times where I'm like, should I just stop? And something in my head was like, heck no. If you really want to achieve something, you got to keep doing it. You're going to learn. And when you're stuck, you find ways to figure it out. Art style wise, my biggest strength is the simplicity in my artwork. I strive through making simple shapes, and like my style thrives from not having complicated details. Whereas if I try to put details in there, which would be my weakness, I think it would overwhelm what I'm trying to what's the word? Present? Yeah, I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like what my vibe is in my artwork. If I went really detailed, I think it would be a major clash with who I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I say, like, I guess, like, what I would ask is, like, alongside that, like, throughout the many years you basically started from 2011 to now, like, have you felt like you were able to overcome your weaknesses over time, or do you feel like with each step that you've grown has given you a much clearer idea of, like, what do you want to represent yourself as an artist?
Yes, as time went on, and still going, I feel that I've overcome a lot of stuff. I can see, what is the word? I'm brain farting because I haven't done a podcast in so long. But
It's so perfectly fine.
but yeah, anyway. Yeah, as the time went, rewind, Dana. As time has gone on, I've definitely overcome. And can you repeat your question, please?
It's okay. My question was that, like, when, given the fact that you started from 2011, how do you feel that you, how do you feel you've grown? Like, do you feel like you've grown or you overcome your weaknesses after
Yes.
such a long period of time? Or do you feel like, that, you've, what's the right word? That you use these as stepping stones, or, it's like experience that you've gained over time to help you realize, oh, this is what I want to represent myself.
Yeah, so I do feel like I've grown a lot, and I'm always gonna feel like I can reach for something more with what I like to do. But at the current time, I do feel content and satisfied with what I've been able to accomplish with my art. Like I feel comfortable sharing it with people. Um, I think I have my aesthetic down, which is bright colors, cuteness, and good vibes, positivity. I like to make art with a smile, which is my catchphrase. And I think
That's
yeah, and I think I do that quite well these days.
Yeah, and that's wonderful to hear, actually, because this actually now leads into the next question, which is, to you, what does art mean to you? Like, what does, when you hear the word art, what do you get from that?
I get a lot of joy and happiness. I view art as a therapeutic thing. I think it's very important for people to have a creative outlet. It doesn't have to be drawing, it could be writing, content creation of any sort, music, it doesn't matter. Um, I just get pure happiness from it. A lot of times when I do my artwork, I focus on positive feelings. And that's just how I am as an artist. I'm not saying I never draw sadness, but I heal myself when I'm very bubbly and I make myself laugh and all that jazz.
Very, very nice answer, honestly. Because to me, like, when I got to know uh, a lot of artists, including the ones that like to, make murals in the city where I'm from, or create like landscapes, or they work in studio apartments, and a couple of other areas that I used to, well, network during the time that I was growing as a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I remember that there was a particular individual that I remember from. He was a really good friend of mine, and he loved to paint very unique artwork, but it wasn't from digital. It was more like he was well, I call it hand drawn, but he had like an actual canvas, real paint,
Ooh.
uh, all of those types of things. And whenever he was depressed or whenever he was happy, he would paint whatever came to mind. So there was a time that he would paint, um, he would paint himself, not really himself, but rather he would paint for himself, for his art to make a car going really fast, like a hot rod. I see
Ooh.
like the landscape, beach with water. There's like a hot rod. It's red, and then whenever he gets, sad and depressed, he would just he would just make like a lone figure standing in the rain. There's no. It's like it's a very very unique perspective. I
That
have
is
not seen him
awesome.
for such a long. I have not seen him for a long time, but from what I do remember was that he was someone that really was expressive. And I asked him once, like, why did you like to draw so much? Like, I know that you like doing this, but I've seen you doing this so much whenever you're upset or anything. And then he mentions art, as you said, is like a therapeutic way to ease oneself or to
Yes.
relieve oneself of others' emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So to him, whatever he felt, he need to feel like he needed to draw something, and that is something that a lot of people tend to overlook sometimes because, for example, I like to go to the gym, whether I'm upset or I'm happy, because instead of like keeping, say, any good or bad emotion in, I would rather put my time into a more energetic and a more positive, um, what's the right word? Build up or development. So anytime I'm really energetic or I'm just not feeling it, or heck, even when I get sick, I could just say, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna sweat it out in the gym, and then I feel a lot more better because I relieved of myself because
Yeah.
I took out whatever negative energy I had was out of me, or I used my energy for a much more productive development for my physical health, and that helps out a lot.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. That my favorite thing to do workout wise, exercise wise, is walking. That's my way to release my emotions other than drawing, and I do other arts and crafts too, but yeah, those are my two favorite things. Art and walking.
That's wonderful. And I'm glad that you have like a balance of what you do for yourself, which is really good, honestly. But now that actually leads to my next other question is, what other hobbies do you partake? Like, do you just do art only, or is there other things that you usually do?
So, I will say in the present day, like if I'm not drawing, I'm knitting. I used to paint as well. I do love video games, but I will tell you that I'm not good at playing them myself, but I love watching video games. I love watching people play them. I love exploring the music and the stories and everything like that. And I do have my favorite games to play. Like, I love the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild series, which includes Tears of the Kingdom. That's like a way I relax, and then I like Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door. I'm trying to beat Mario RPG. Oh, and I love Chrono Trigger. That was like the first RPG where I 100%ed the whole thing.
Ooh, nice. Chrono Trigger, huh?
Yeah.
I remember that we used to play that a long time ago as well, and you know what's funny? Like, the first time that I got serious with that game was when I got a game over, and it ended up showing you like the bad ending for just,
Oh.
yeah, like but as some, I forgot how how the words were, if my memory serves. Like, I could look this up as I'm looking it up right now, but I remember like when you basically get the bad ending, or you get like a game over. It says the word says, but the future refused to change, and it's like, oh Jesus, that's like a terrible game over.
I know.
And yeah, but for myself, I really do like other JRPGs. To be quite honest, I haven't played many of them because there were ones that I used to like playing, like Final Fantasy VII. Pokemon technically counts because, you know, I was more of a Pokemon guy compared to most RPGs. I mean, even today, like they just released Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and that's like a dungeon-based RPG where you gotta play as any Pokemon that you personality create into. But I had to basically use the thing to be like, yeah, I just want to play as Pikachu. So it was easy to kind of like look up the game, like the game walkthroughs, like how do you get the Pikachu personality? And I feel like with JRPGs, like even with the old ones, like I never truly go, oh, I'm gonna more or less figure it out on my own, because I will not lie, I'm kind of impatient because I do want to like move forward, but what I do is this: if it comes to building up your levels just to be strong enough to face strong enemies and stuff like that, I can do that. But if I'm like extremely lost and I have no idea where I'm going, or I happen to lose sense of direction, I will use like walkthroughs just to help me out, because like it's like whenever you play like a good old, okay, I can't really say that's an accurate thing, but it's like actually what you do in some of the games. It's like, if you want to proceed forward, you need an actual map or some kind of guide, because you could say you know the way, but the game doesn't let you go through until you actually get this required item, and then it goes like, oh, there you go, and then the other part goes with you, really? I could have gotten this even without it, but it's like, nope, the game required for you to have an insighted knowledge of knowing that. So it's like,
yeah, I know.
You know what? It doesn't really harm anything,
No.
unless, you know, patience is weakness or something.
And to be honest, like, choose the way you want to play through a game. Yes, it's fun to play something blind, but like, it can be frustrating too. And I'll be honest, I'll admit, when I play games, I need a walkthrough. My sense of direction sucks. in real life. Like, I'm not good at it, so sometimes I need to glance. Like, am I going in the right direction? Because I'm going in circles. I'm getting confused. And in my in my perspective, I was trying to find a different word, but I think it's okay to use a walkthrough. I think it is. Not everyone's gonna be able to really navigate easy in a game, especially when it's your first time, and that's okay. That's fine.
That's true.
Yeah, you just be honest with yourself. It's like, hey, I need help. All right, fine. That's so you should never be shunned for that. And I know some people, they're like, if you can't play a game as is, then you're not a gamer. Well, you're a gamer like that, but I'm not. I need help. So.
Yeah, there's some people that tend to be very strangely weird about that kind of stuff. Like, I get it. Like, there's some people that would, I think some would call me like I used to maybe flex or something, but it's like, listen, I don't come to these games that I play, which is fighting games. Like, listen, I don't come to play fighting games to showcase that I'm good. No, I'm here to show that I'm just making progress of what I've been doing. If people want to think that, that's perfectly fine. But here's the thing, my experience is completely different than yours because I'm using a different character compared to most people. Some people, for example, if you play Tekken, I like playing Kazuya and Steve Fox, but some people would like to play Asuka or Lydia or Dragunov or Brian Fury or Paul Phoenix or Law, and they're like either broken or straight up like annoying to deal with, but they enjoy it. And yet some would criticize my ideas like, oh, but it's such an easy game because you're spamming. Bro, you have a character that does more or less the same thing or has the most annoying setups in the game, and you're telling me that my stuff is annoying? Like, come on, man. Well, what are you talking about?
Yes.
But yeah, I kind of don't like to interact with people like that because another that I also would say that I hate also, personally speaking, is that I kind of hate when people kind of ruin your experience from enjoying things, because I will not lie, there was a time that I really wanted to get into Final Fantasy 7 or even like Nier Automata, for example, because I remember like there was a time that there were some individuals that I often see on the websites and even from personal stuff here and there, like because I had a lot of friends that really did like this game.
Yeah.
I remember that even on Twitter or whatever they use these days, is that they would always argue about like, oh, the fandom has to go with this shipping or this shipping. I'm like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. Like, and then of course, people like to ruin other people's experiences, and then go to myself, and this is where I kind of stop. And honestly, that's one of many reasons why I never step into other games, because there's just literally people who honestly try to make the game like give the game experience a lot more worse to even work with, that whenever I try to play it, I just immediately give up and I just go back to my fighting games, mostly because of bad taste.
Understandable. I mean, fandoms are crazy. They are crazy.
Yep, it is.
And I tend to
it is.
I tend to ignore them all. When I ship, it's like, okay, that's my favorite pairing of characters, but I'm not gonna diss somebody if they don't like
they
my...
go way overboard for that. That's another thing.
I'm like, I get why you like your shipping, so go have fun. It's supposed to be fun, not a war. But,
Yeah, but that's just how it is for most people. Alright, so we got like these final two questions. This one will most likely be the most easiest ones to work with. What do you think is better? Digital or hand draw art? Or you could say both. It really just is, as what would say, one's perspective. Like, what do you think of digital or hand draw art? Like, what do you think of those?
My thoughts on that is, I think both are very handy. Like, they're useful in their own way. And, digital makes it easy. You don't have to buy sketchbooks. You can Control Z, which is undo. Like, there's a lot of positives with that, but the plus side with traditional is working on your motor skills, you know, your control. And I'll so if my memory is correct, no, not my memory. When I'm thinking back to my journey, when I started back in 2011, I was just digital because I felt like I sucked with hand drawing, traditional drawing. And then a few years down the line, I'm like, I wanted to participate in Inktober, and this was in 2017. I'm like, I feel like if I get back to traditional drawing and drawing with a pen, that it could help me. And I feel like going back to paper has helped me a lot with my art skills, because when you're drawing traditional versus digital, I mean, there's a difference there. You're not drawing on paper on a tablet. And if you're starting out with those non-screen tablets where you have to look up at your computer, that's a complete learning curve. So add that on top of trying to learn to draw. Drawing is not easy, but like, I think it's good for artists to have a mixture of both. Like, if you're mainly a digital artist, you should try traditional art, because like, the biggest thing is your motor skills. It really helps improve that, and your control and everything like that.
It's really good, honestly.
Like,
and I'm glad that you shared that it's mostly the best of both worlds from that perspective, because this is a very, I like to call this a very poor example. But my father was born as a left-hand person, but my great-grandmother was someone from the church, and they used to believe that if you use the left hand to write or do anything with it, it was like the hand of the devil, the Satan, all that. So he was forced to basically use his right hand. But at first he hated that he had to use that, but then he realized that he would use both of his hands to write, fix, to do any tools that necessarily builds. In this case, there are some that would rather prefer digital compared to hand drawing or sketching in this case, or there will be some who prefer using sketches, sketchbooks compared to buying a tablet or using a program.
Yeah.
I've seen some that take upon themselves to have both things, where it's like a balance between, knowing of this, improving from this, and, going with this one. Now, from my perspective, when it comes to fighting games, I play Tekken and I play Street Fighter. Now, granted, those two are completely two different games, but ironically, because I'm still playing something that's very consistent, neutrals, or, being able to have a knowledge of, knowing when to attack, when to be defensive, you have like this automatic build of just knowing when to go for this and when not to go for it. Now, I know that we're talking, it's a little bit completely different from art, but I do see the fact that when you have the best of both worlds, you get a benefit from learning from one side to the other. There's no down benefit. There's no downside, if anything.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Each video game, it's still relevant. Each video game has different things about it. Different controls, the way you push your buttons. I mean, there's basic core things that you'll know throughout each game that they share, but it's different technique. Same thing with art, like someone has a different technique than you, or people learn in different ways, so that can go hand in hand with anything.
That is very true, honestly. And for our final question that we have for you is, when I say we, I mean me and probably a lot of viewers that are looking into this, where do you see yourself in the future?
That's always difficult for me to answer. Always difficult.
That's understandable, honestly.
It's difficult for me to answer because we won't have. like we think we might have a definite answer where we'll be in like 5 years, but life always shows you a different way to approach things and everything. So the best way I could answer this is, as long as I'm still doing things that make me happy, whether that's my crafts, talking with my friends, doing things that help me, like mentally, like making sure I'm organized and giving myself a breather, like going outside. As long as I'm happy with what I'm doing, then I feel successful.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I do think that's a really good answer, Drew, because honestly, let it be for anybody, I do think there really is no ending towards anything you really love doing. Like, you could do this till literally the end of everything, and you would still be more happy doing what you love doing rather than just trying to find a goal or accomplish a goal that doesn't seem like you think it's fulfilling, but
Yeah.
it's more like something that gives you the drive just to keep going. And sometimes I see people crash and burn because I feel like once they don't reach to that goal, they need to let go of what makes, their passions, I guess in a sense, be flicked away. No, not flicked away. Like, completely turn itself off, and then it never comes back to revisiting that again. But you do show that you do have a very deep passion for what you do, for who you are, and who you are as a person. So it clearly shows that you are a very strong individual who cares not only for what they do, but to bring a lot of joy to others, and of course you do so through the form of your art and through the form of your personality, which is a really great factor here as we were discussing all of this. So, I'm just really glad that we've just been having this conversation, and it's really great to really, learn more about you through all of this. And I'm glad that you were able to share this with, they here with what we have for this podcast collab and everything. Different question, like this will be the last question technically, but this will be the last one. But in case people do ask this, do you feel like you will be around to do a other collab that is not a podcast?
Yes, I'd be totally game for that.
Well, you heard it here, folks. StarblossomJ is not just doing a podcast episode. There's going to be a lot more interesting works from her alongside me and on her other endeavors. One little thing though, what is if you do have like something that you want to be show consistently, you mentioned you wanted me to share your link tree mostly.
Yeah, like my link tree. That's where you're gonna see all the links where I'm at. I have a knickknacks group where I post my knitting. I loom knit. So if you're ever interested in the progress, or there's something you may want, join my knitting group, my Facebook group. I have Instagram on there, my YouTubes. I have one for art, and one that I recently transitioned into. I named it Jordana Loom Knitting Monkey because I'm hoping to start posting there. I just don't know when. And then I have my art channel, which I would probably post speed paints and whatever else drawing related.
Alrighty. Also, one little thing. I also noticed that you have like a monkey as part of your like arts and everything. What's the story with that?
So point blank, I'm the year of the monkey, but also I like monkeys. And I just resonate with them. So, because monkeys are curious, they're feisty, energetic. I have a monkey persona. So, you see my persona on screen today, but I have a monkey persona who's a boxer and everything. Monkeys are just, they're fun loving, and that's how I like to be. They can they can get cranky at times, so but yeah.
Yeah. You have a happy simian friend vibe going on, which is really cool. And and with that, I would like to conclude today's podcast collaborative first episode with a very fellow guest. If you don't mind, say your name.
StarblossomJ. I go by Dana.
There you go.
Yeah, I go by
Nice.
Dana.
So,
That
well, it
sounded
is a
so
pleasure
funny.
having you, Star Blossom. Sorry, go ahead.
That sounded so funny because I was trying to be like, I'm StarblossomJ and I also go by Dana.
Well, it is a pleasure having you, Star Blossom J.
Thank you.
It is honestly a pleasure having you here for today's podcast. So, thank you all for watching. You probably may have noticed, like maybe during the video, that I left a link tree during that little session. But if you haven't seen that, or you probably don't see it in the video, just an FYI, I will leave it in the description below and in the pinned comment. Maybe we'll see how that goes. But anyway, tune back next time when we have another collaborative guest. You know him from basically talking about fighting games with characters, breakdowns. It is none other than the wonderful Seventh Force. But I'd like to thank Star Blossom J for really being
Woo!
here today and participating with all the questions that I have here for today. And until then, this is Shock Brawler and
StarblossomJ. Take care, everybody. I hope to see you again.
we will see. Absolutely. And this is us telling to you. See ya.
Bye.